Hello everybody, this is Gwyneth. I'm going to talk about the period from August 18th to the 31st. This astrological review is in some ways short and sweet, but it's also deep and twisty. It is also explicitly affecting everyone's lives. It is also a time period when many of us are entering into various stages of massive change in everything from lifestyle to philosophy to the way we interact with our fellow human beings. So, not to put too fine a point on this, but in the course of my lifetime, I've had many encounters with fabulously interesting, talented, and yes, spiritual people. Every one of them has brought me insights into who I am, what my direction is, what my talents seem to be. But at the end of the day, it's always been, for me at least, the need to listen to my intuition and to follow my heart. And I'm saying all of this in way of prefacing what I believe is going on right now, personally for many people and also globally. The heart chakra is very much necessary for guiding our steps through the world. And no more, no less can we count on just simple ideology. It helps, but it's not enough. We really need to step back and look at how we feel about people around us, how we can influence those people that need help and support, how we can give a hand up to folks who are really struggling. So anyway, not to become too preachy, but I thought I should say all of this because what we're going to do is talk about some important transits, and then I'll jump into your personal signs. But I want to talk about two very large transits, that one has already occurred and one will be occurring. So let's get going. Okay. Now I said this is for the 18th to the 31st, but I really want to leapfrog backwards to the 12th, when everyone was talking about the solar eclipse in Leo at 20 degrees. And yes, if you're astrologically savvy, take a look at your charts. Or if you're a Leo rising, Leo moon, or if you're an Aquarian, this particular transit could have made a big impact on your life. The solar eclipse is a door opener. I hesitate to use the word portal because it has so many strange connotations, but it's definitely a door opener into areas of your life that matter to you, that you've been wistful about. Maybe you've been wanting to develop more, some area within that. That solar eclipse, historically, any solar eclipse has always been viewed with awe. And yes, there's all the historical information about it being a kingmaker and a king breaker and all of that. But historically, from the beginning of time, eclipses were seen as something unearthly. Okay, so keep that in mind. But that also coincided with the lunar new moon in Leo and several other things were happening. We talked about the Barbeau basket, etc., etc. But this is and has been an important vibrational shift for everybody. And it's not that it makes an immediate impact, but it will reverberate. And this is something I think gets lost in the sauce here. That energy will reverberate for months, maybe even a couple years down the road. Now, it's also bookended by a lunar eclipse that will be happening on the 28th. And I want to talk about that in the context of that eclipse, because I feel that in some ways, if we really want to be honest about it, that solar eclipse, was that's like turning the switch on in a dark room. It was that kind of energy. And it got you to wake up and to pay attention to wherever that landed. The lunar eclipse coming up in Pisces is a sort of a culmination point of a lot of things in our lives. So, it is an area where you will be feeling like you're tying up loose ends. And maybe this solar eclipse got the ball rolling towards something that really engages you, and that lunar eclipse is helping you to tidy up all the bits and bobs that you need to take care of. So they're a bit apart. They're, one's on the 12th of August and one's on the 28th. And they really, when they talk about this being the eclipse season, it really does feel that way. So this summertime period where we feel like, oh, that eclipse happened, that was really exciting. No, it's still happening. It's still part of your psyche. It has not gone away. And the lunar eclipse is sort of the putting the cap on the bottle, so to speak, so that we can still keep this thing fizzing and percolating. Now, on the 21st, we have a very interesting transit between Venus and Saturn. Venus in beautiful Libra. Venus about culture and making sure the things are nicely appointed. And, a lot of Librans are in the beauty care industry, which is kind of fun. A lot of Librans are looking for harmony. So many of them are lawyers. A lot of Librans go into the arts. But it's about putting the focus in that part of your life. It opposes Saturn in Aries. Saturn is obviously it's opposite and in Aries. But Saturn is practical. Saturn says, we need to get organized. We need to, it's really great to have dreams, Venus. It's really fine to decorate the house. But what if the structure of the house is falling down? So that Saturnian energy, I believe, around the 21st, is where we get our marching orders, where things start to feel like, okay, we had this revelation on the 12th. When the eclipse happened, maybe it wasn't so much of a revelation as a fact that maybe you got a chance to declare it. Anyway, so on this 21st period, there's a sense of, okay, we've got the bits and pieces and we understand what we care about, so let's make something happen. Maybe it has something to do with your physicalness or your gestalt. Maybe it has something to do with your life purpose. Maybe you discovered, and because you had a transit of your 12th house, which is all about your life purpose, your spirituality, your momentum this lifetime, you've decided that the rat race is too much for you, or it doesn't feel like it's important anymore, whatever. On the 21st, this opposition, even though it's an opposition, gets the ball rolling. And I think that's fabulous. So mark that on your calendars. You know, it's all great and good to have these exciting solar lunar eclipses. But what about making something happen? Some of you have applied to college. Some of you have decided to remodel. Some of you have decided to go into politics. But how do you get the momentum moving? What practical steps do you need to take? Okay. And to close up this month, after the lunar eclipse, and it's a full moon lunar eclipse, so it really is a tying up of loose ends. We have on the 29th, Saturn, practical Saturn in Aries. And when it's in Aries, it's the charge of the light brigade. I mean, we are moving boxes. We are building brick walls. There's no stopping Aries when it gets going. And for anybody who has an Arian relative, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, relative, dog, you know what they're like when they've got something in their heads, right? So that Arian energy combined with Saturn is, let's get busy. It will trine Jupiter in Leo. Remember where Leo is? We had our solar eclipse in Leo. We had that lunar eclipse in Leo. And Leo is also dynamic and dramatic. These two coming together on the 29th are just like more of the same energy from the 21st, when I said there's a practical movement forward. But now it's, all right, everybody, let's march. Because Aries in that energy field, combined with Saturn and everything else, says it's time to their old saying, because I grew up on a farm, make hay while the sun shines, because if you make hay when it's raining, it'll be moldy. We're not going to have moldy hay here. We're going to make things happen. And then on the somewhere around that same date, the 29th, we have Saturn in Aries square Mars in Cancer. Now, Cancer and Aries have very different energy fields. And there will be something that has to be shifted, changed, done over, because it's not a retrograde so much as it is a sort of a disagreement between of how things should be done. So keep that in mind as well. And as we close out the month and we move into September, you're starting to see the vision take place. Oh yeah. And this is for everybody. And it's, again, as I said before, it's influencing or energizing the global stage. So there's the review. It may seem that not a lot is happening, but everything is happening, and it's all happening in the next 14 days. So I'm going to jump into Aries right now and look at your personal signs, and let's see if we can make sense of what's happening around us, shall we? Okay. Aries, how are you? I want to mark this down because I try to put timestamps on everything. Listen, so let's start off with the fact that we had a solar eclipse in Leo in your 4th house. No, in your 5th house. Excuse me. So this pertains to Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And the information I'm giving you is going to follow us through till the end of the month. So some of this is very easy to follow mark it in your calendars because it's important. So that solar eclipse brought up issues primarily that had to do with your personal life, i.e. your creative activities, your romantic activities, okay? Maybe what came up for you was that you don't have one. You don't have a romantic life. Maybe you've wanted one. Maybe you haven't met anybody in years, okay? Whatever. Now, on the 21st, we have this opposition. And for Aries, this is big because the opposite of your sign is Libra. Okay, so we have Venus in Libra in your 7th house, because we've set this up this way with Aries on the ascendant, and your Aries in the 1st house. There's an issue of being creative about romance or our own creativity or something to do with our kids is fabulous, but how do we make something happen? And because Aries is in your 1st house of identity, it's important for you to put your energy in the world somehow and declare it. So if you are already in a long-term partnership, maybe it's time for you to assess the relationship and talk to your partner. If you aren't in a long-term relationship and you would like to be one, it's time to jumpstart it. There, I said it. On the 29th, as we get toward the end of the month, we have this square between Saturn in Aries and Mars in Cancer. And Cancer is in your area of home and family and mother. And then Aries, of course, is in the area of your identity. So there may be some kind of friction about what you are trying to become and what your family expects from you, or what they've seen you as. I mean, maybe you become celebrity overnight and they're not jiving with it. The other thing that is happening that is on a more upbeat aspect of life is that your Aries energy in the 1st house of how the world sees you, how you like to dress, etc., might be changing, and it's making this wonderful positive trine to the 5th house in Leo. And it's all about describing yourself as a person in love, or a person that likes to have fun, or sort of tearing off the old mantle of I must trudge on to enjoying life a bit more. I'm not saying you're retiring. I'm saying you're finding a better way to enjoy the earth plane, if I can be so plain spoken. Because we're not just here to suffer. I see that a lot with people who feel that, they have to trudge on. And yes, we all do. We all have to have discipline and take our duties seriously, but there are many ways to go about this. So that's the news for you, Aries. Let's take a look at what's happening with the Master cards. It's my Oracle deck. I also have to say to you, and for those people who are cross-watching, I really feel that the Master Teacher energy is very big right now, swirling all around us. I have people calling me from all ends of the planet, talking to me about just that. They're feeling things, seeing things. They're having odd dreams. They're bordering on visions, etc., etc. This is why I like to work with this Master deck, because I think that there is a continuity here while I use this. So Aries, let's pull a Master card out for you. You can do it. You can find a balance between your needs and the needs of all those people you love. That's what I'm hearing. This is Archangel Michael. This is the warrior angel. This is the one that fights to protect people, particularly those less fortunate. Okay, I'm going to give this tiny little shuffle. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of my iced coffee. You notice I love color. So use your head. This is the lion. This is the 8 in the major arcana. We like the lion, but use your intellectual prowess in making some decisions as you go forward. There is somebody that's very keenly interested in you, 4 of Cups. That's how I interpret that. It could be that an old friend or an old acquaintance or somebody that has had a crush on you is appearing at your doorstep. And there is a celebration tied into this. Maybe you go to a wedding. Maybe you're going to have a party. Maybe this is where you meet somebody. Because remember, we talked about the 5th house of finding love, finding joy. King of Wands, this person could be, it would be really great for you, a fire sign, Sag, Leo, or a fellow Aries, because that would trine your sun sign. Okay, dear ones, listen, you can do this. You can change and not hurt people in the process. We think you are fabulous. And so, on that note, drop me a line, cottagetarot.com, all one word, and let me know how you're doing. Take care. Hey, all you Taurians. So, I hope you've been well. Listen, I'm going to jump right into your reading. I want to take a look at what's been going on. So, when we had the solar eclipse in Leo, it hit you in the area of home, family, mom, the matriarchy, the place where you hang your hat, where you grew up, and all the people involved. Okay. Now, on the 21st, we have Venus in Libra opposing Saturn in Aries. Now, Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus sun. This is all for you guys. On the 21st, with Venus in Cancer, that's in your 3rd house of expression. Just leave it at that. It opposes Saturn in Aries, which is in your 12th house. Your destiny, your spirituality, what you came here to create, produce, accomplish. And when I say here, I'm talking about this lifetime. Yes, I'm one of those. I believe in lifetimes. But maybe you believe that the past is when you were a baby. Okay, we'll go with that. But these 2 areas are in opposition. 3rd house of how you express yourself, and the 12th house of getting your needs met on a spiritual level. Is there something you're trying to say to a group, to an organization you work for, to a particular person, to a sibling that is very important to you? It could be like, I care about you, but I want to be a monk. 12th house. I care about you, and this could be if you're in a long-term relationship, but I need more alone time. It could be like that. But it's all part of turning the tide, moving into a new direction, making things happen, expressing it to those people that matter. I want to build a sanctuary for cats. That's my life purpose. I like cats. I want to build sheds all over the United States that will support the needs of cats. And you're going to be talking to folks who can help you with that vision. On the 28th, the bookend to that solar eclipse we had on the 12th is in Pisces. And Pisces is up in your 11th house. And it's the lunar eclipse is tying up loose ends that have to do with groups that you've been involved with, organizations you work with, people with deep pockets who have projects you're involved with. And don't be surprised if you're coming to a point where a lot of those activities are starting to wind down, because you are moving into your life's purpose. And then the two transits that punctuate the end of the month for you Taurians, Mars will square Saturn. Mars in Cancer in that third house of self-expression. Whether you write, whether you sing, whether you dance, whether you're a musician, how you tell your story, will be battling with Saturn, who's practical. Oh, so practical. In that area of your life that has to do with your secrets, your life purpose, your spirituality. Yes, it'll come back to that again. In the sign of Aries. Excuse me. And it will feel determinedly difficult, but you'll make it through. I know. And then lastly, Saturn in Aries, in that 12th house, will make a pleasant, positive connection with Jupiter and Leo in your 4th house, where there is compassion, support, understanding coming from the family, from your partner, from your children, from your mother, from something that has to do with home and hearth, so that you can move forward. And if it's building kitty sanctuary, go for it. If it's opening up a restaurant, or part of the proceeds go to feed the homeless that are in the immediate vicinity of your restaurant, mazel tov. But that's where you are, Taurus, right now. Things can change. By September, you're starting to move toward the vision that has been percolating. And that is very exciting. And if I sound adamant, I am. Because one, I see what's coming up, but I also have had too much coffee to drink. So, anyhow, let me pull a MasterCard for you and see what else we can add to this storyline. Fertility, fecundity. For those of you who are wanting to get pregnant, this would be great. For those of you who are pregnant with creative energy, that's great too. Or people who are working on projects in general. This is very big. Yes, Empress. This is also about pregnancy. So if you, it's so exciting. If you want a baby, that baby wants to come to you. But if you're an artist or a maker or a designer or any kind of person working on projects, the creativity is flowing. Moving into a much more peaceful period, 6 of Swords. You've been under a cloud. You have felt sabotaged. And now it's time for a break. You've gone through a lot. You might want to take some time off and utilize that vacation time that you've set aside. The King of Swords is also either we're talking about Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus sun. You may be an air sign, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, or you might be involved with one of these people where they would go on a vacation with you. Okay. And a rebirth, a feeling like you're coming back online. Taurus, this is exciting. I want you to have a great couple weeks, and I'll see you at the beginning of September. Take care. Oh, and if you like my channel, like, share, and subscribe. Also, look for me on Instagram and go to my website, cottagetarot.com, because I post little essays about what this week is about, weeks. And I will often jump in with clarifying videos through Instagram. So keep in touch. Bye-bye. Hello, all you Geminis, and welcome. Listen, Gemini rising, sun, and moon. So, if you're a cross watcher, that's a really great thing to do, and share it with people. Now, I'm going to say to you Gemini some of the same things I said in my forecast review, but this pertains more directly to you. On the 12th, we had a solar eclipse in Leo. Yes, yes, yes. It fell in the area of your ideas, expression, your ability to communicate. There is something new that you've been developing, that you're moving toward, that is helping you to enlarge who you are as a person. On the 21st, it's the door opener. If you've had an idea in mind, there's an opportunity for shifts to make things happen, because the Venus in beautiful Libra, it's because Libra is ruled by Venus. It's a sense of beauty and joy, and it's in your 5th house. So you may be having some fun. You may have somebody that you love. You may have some creative notions. You might be, if you're not in a relationship or dating somebody, you may be doing some really creative artwork or creative construction or something like that. Now, but it's in opposition to Aries in your 11th house. Aries is hard driven. It's fiery. Your 11th house is all about organizations, groups, associations, projects with those people that are funding you, who have really powerful ideas of how you should be doing things. By the 21st, though, you are going to stand up for yourself and state what's important to you personally. So it may be a situation where the person you're involved with, or the situation that's allowing you to be creative, is not jiving with what the organization is offering up. And you might have to, lean back on that experience of the 12th when you said to yourself, you know what? I have this idea. I know where I want to be. I'm going to be authentic and follow my direction as I see it. On the 28th, we have a lunar full moon in the sign of Pisces. My dears, this falls in your 10th house. It's all about career. You're changing. You may not be leaving it, but you may be changing it. The 10th house is the career, the great and glorious career. And that lunar full moon is saying it's time to tidy up, because you're getting ready to, you're like a chameleon. You're not a chameleon, like a snake shedding its skin. You are turning into something different. Now, at the end of the month, to make it even more interesting, we have Mars, a planet of action, that's having a square off to Saturn in Aries. So Mars is in cozy, home-loving Cancer. And you might be inclined to want to spend money on things that have to do with your home, your family, whatever. Or maybe you're putting money away for a rainy day. But it will square off to Saturn in the 11th house. It may be a situation where, because of the job or because of this change you're making, the organization you work for or are involved with doesn't want to pay you for certain days. I'm just pulling things out of my hat. But it's different for everybody. And then you work that out. It's not something that's going to last for months and months. But the following day, or around the same time, Saturn in Aries, in that 11th house of groups and organizations, will make a lovely, harmonious connection to something that you do, say, or express, because it's affecting the 3rd house. So you are going to be able to speak up for yourself and communicate an idea, a strategy to this group. And it could be something like, listen, I'll work for you remotely. I'm moving to England, but I can work for you remotely for the same pay rate. Could be something like that. You'll be sharing your ideas with this large group in order to fulfill your dreams. And that, Gemini, is what's going on for you until we move into September, which is a whole nother story. Somewhat of a continuation. But listen, it's big. So let's take a look, like we did before with the other signs. Let's look at your oracle card. What's Gemini need to know? Listen carefully to everybody's comments. Just listen. Don't get overwhelmed. And also take notes. I just heard something in my head from somewhere. Take notes. Keep a little log when you're moving around, because you're going to pick up a lot from the ether. You have some organizational activities you need to take care of. 7 of Wands. You're going to be dealing with higher-ups, the Hierophant. Probably somebody who's at the top of the pecking order in whatever organization you work with. Don't go off on a flight of fancy. Stay grounded. Some of what you're going to be hearing is not real. You might get disappointed if you do. If you don't stay grounded and on the earth plane, you will feel that somebody's not being honest with you. But it is time to get moving and to take action. 2 of Swords. And to be very introspective about what it is you are planning to do. Because you're going to need some new skills. You need to make sure everything you know how to do is right on the table. 3 of Pentacles. And on that note, Gemini, until the beginning of September, have a great couple weeks and take care. Hello, all you Cancer babies. How are you? Listen, life has felt a little bit overwhelming, but I think we can straighten out some of the issues. So let's dive right in. Yes, we had a solar eclipse in Leo, and we had it on the 12th. It is a bookend to the lunar eclipse that's going to be happening. The solar eclipse in Leo hit you in the area of finance. You started to stand back and go, you know what? I can do it. I can make it on this. Or I need to earn more money. Or I have a dream. But whatever it is, it's a door opener to change. On the 21st, we have lovely Venus in the sign of Libra, in your 4th house of home and family and mom, which has a particularly warm place in the hearts of most Cancers. In opposition to your career house, which is in Aries, and Saturn has itself parked there. Now, this particular transit is a way of getting you moving, going in the direction you're meant to go in, taking action. So you want to have a lifestyle that focuses on having a lovely home and spending time with people you love. But there is an irritant, and this is where you're going to put some energy in carving out the ideal situation that will work for you. It's practical, it's no nonsense, and it may entail setting boundaries with people in your career life. Example, no, I will not work on Saturdays. I will only work every other or every 3rd Sunday. Something like that. I will not take work home. It can be many, many different things. So I want you to hear that, because it's definitely a jumping off point for you. Then on the 28th, we have the lunar eclipse. It's a full lunar moon. Lunar and moon are the same. It's a full lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And for you, Cancer, that is in your 9th house of travel, exploration, and learning. This is the planning stage of a trip that you finally figured out. This could be you finishing up some training that you were getting. It'll happen, whatever that is, happens after the 28th. And you feel like the area of broadening your life and broadening your world is starting to come full circle, and you're starting to see what you were meant to see. Whether it's you travel to another country and you see a place you would like to live, and you've decided, aha, I'm going to move everybody there. Or maybe you've decided that the training that you got was great, but you now want to go to graduate school and get a PhD. You will put a cap on something that you've been exploring. Now, on the 29th, Jupiter will trine Saturn. Jupiter in Leo, which is in your 2nd house of finance, will trine Saturn in Aries in your 10th house. There's a possibility here of a raise, finding a better position. Whatever it is has to do with your great and glorious career. And it really impacts the pocketbook. And lastly, before we move into September, around the 29th, depending on where you live, Mars in Cancer, in your sun sign, and this is for Cancer, Moon, Sun, and Rising, so, all of you are involved. Cancer, Mars in Cancer, will square off to Saturn in Aries. So, again, this has a lot to do with setting boundaries on the workplace. No, I'm not going to wear high heels to the office because you think it makes the customer like me more. No, I'm not going to work every holiday and every weekend No, I don't agree with that policy that excludes certain people. And you will be setting strict limits on what this larger group, this career area of yours, can say or affect. And that's going to be very interesting for you, because as you move into September, you're not the same person. You've taken on a new identity, and it's fantastic. Really. Okay, let's take a look at the oracle cards and see if there's something more that we can suss out here. Right. I've been telling a lot of the signs, you need a journal. You need or a piece of paper. Put your ideas down. Don't discard the simplest thought, because it will support you over this period. The card says write, and you need to. A lot of Cancers are very good writers. You've just gone through a lot, Cancer. The Ten of Swords, you've been beaten up by life's vicissitudes. You like that word? I love that term. That vicissitudes, troubles, attitudes that really impact us and make us feel lousy. Justice has been involved. You may have had a court case. Maybe somebody sued you because your dog was barking. I'm being glib, but really. But the Justice card is also about bringing balance to a situation. And with it comes joy. You evidently are coming out on top with this. That's the Celebration card, the Three of Cups. You have the skills, the training, the ability, the spirituality, all the good things in order to do well over the next few weeks. And the money situation will take care of itself. Queen of Pentacles. And you have practical skills that would normally belong to a Capricorn, Taurus, or a Virgo, but you have them parked in your back pocket. Cancer, until next time, take care and be well. Hello, all you great Leos, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And oh, by the way, if you like what I do here on this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps grow this. And it helps all the people that support me on different levels. The folks who work with me with my filming, the people that help me, post up things that I need to have, edited. So please, jump right in. It's easy. It's free. Okay, so this forecast period runs from the 18th to the 31st, but I'm going to drag us back to the 12th. That was the solar eclipse in Leo, your sign, and as I've set this up, it's on the first house. You, Leo, are being lit up, and this eclipse does not end just because it's, it was on the 12th. This is going to reverberate for months to come. And I keep telling people that. On the 21st, Venus in Libra, so beautiful, and it's so harmonious with Leo. In your third house of siblings and creative expression is in opposition to Saturn in Aries. It's that area of your chart where you'd love to travel and you'd love to be out in the world, but you can't seem to get people to understand how much you want to be part of a bigger picture. And maybe there's something going on with a sibling. Maybe somebody's sick, maybe somebody's struggling, that is not allowing you to get out in the world like you would like to be right now. So just hang on. Things will start moving forward in a different fashion. But this particular transit is the practical, the very practical part of getting you to display and come to terms with your vision. even though this might feel very combative, it's going to be that shove in the right direction that you need to carry out something that matters a great deal to you. On the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse. It's a full moon, and it's closing the door on some old projects. Maybe something happened. There was a transitional period. You moved. Maybe you left a relationship. Maybe somebody was in your life and you lost them. Or maybe you finished a project, but it's a reset. And this lunar eclipse is saying it's time to say goodbye, because you're getting into bigger and better things. On the 29th, Mars, which can be really feisty, but is in the sign of Cancer, so it doesn't act that feisty, is squaring off to Aries in that 9th house again. And it's coming, to loggerheads. Mars in Cancer for you is in your 12th house. So there may be a desire on your part to travel or to expand your worldview, but there's something that you've carried around with you in your back pocket for years that's like a secret to everybody. Maybe you don't feel that smart. Maybe you want to go back to school and you don't feel like you can. Maybe you really are more of a reclusive personality and you're afraid of being around all those people. Or being that it's in the 12th house, there is something in your background that you've kept hidden that would preclude you from traveling. I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to work it out, and it won't linger for long. It's an important next step, because at the same time, Jupiter on your first house, on you, Leo, because it's in the sign of Leo, will positively connect and trine with Aries and the planet Saturn in that 9th house of travel, exploring, learning, growing. So whether you like it or not, the push for all of you Leos is to get out there and explore your world, whether it's through visiting museums, becoming a docent, going to plays, traveling to cities you've never been to, coming in contact with people that come from different places on the globe that have always made you a little nervous. It's because some people are very parochial, and they haven't strayed far from their roots. Well, you're going to be straying all over the place, and it's going to open doors for you. So Leo, let's take a look at the oracle card and see how it relates to what we're talking about. Work your magic. Manifest. Is there a dream that you're sitting on? Because it's part of all of these various shifts that we're experiencing right now. If you have felt like you're being hung out to dry, like you're just in limbo, the hangman. And there will be news from a young person coming into you that will relate to all the things we're talking about. And they and you will move into a new direction. This is the Six of Swords. You could be doing a juggling act between two projects or two jobs, Two of Pentacles. And you've been feeling down in the mouth, like you don't have many options left, but you do. At least two options. Five of Cups. And you're thinking a lot about the past. This is the Moon card. But it's time to move forward on something that really matters to you. And you're going to be taking short trips and doing some traveling to clarify what you need to do. So Leo, if you have any comments, please leave them with me. I'm at cottagetarot.com, and you can always find me on YouTube and all those good things. And until next time, be well and take care. Hello, all you Virgos. Welcome. Listen, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. So get yourself something to drink. I've got my iced coffee. I love coffee. And I love, you know, I have to say this because Virgos will understand. I'm kind of detail-oriented with this. Summertime starts the minute it gets into the high 60s, and out comes the iced coffee. I don't drink a lot of iced coffee at any other time of the year except in the summer, but when it hits 60, 68, 69, iced coffee all the way. So, okay, let's take a look at the solar eclipse on the 12th. I know this is a forecast that goes from the 18th to the 31st, but this solar eclipse on the 12th is still humming away in the background. And it will do that for the next many months to come, because it's your purpose, it's your direction, it's the place in your life that needs attention. It's in the 12th house. It's the deep secrets, the deep yearnings, your life purpose, your spiritual direction. It's also what you were doing in a past life. And yes, I said it. I believe in past lives, big time. But that's another conversation for another time. So that solar eclipse reminded you of what you care about. Okay, let's jump to the 21st. Because on the 21st, we have an opposition. But that opposition is the ball roller. It's the thing that gets you going and making things happen. And it's you standing up to the vision and the dream that you want to fulfill. So on the 21st, Venus in very creative Libra, its home sign, will be in that area of money, productivity, things that you do to make things happen, particularly financially, will be in opposition to Saturn, which is practical, and in the sign of Aries. So what will be, it will be this thing where there's a loggerheads. It's like, I have a dream. I want to spend $10,000 and travel to 3 different countries in 1 week. And practical Saturn in your opposition in your 8th house, which is where it is, will say you can't go through this transitional period without some planning. Virgo, you're a great planner, but this is silly. And you will have to come to terms with your, in a very dynamic way. It might be coming from the voice of somebody that's close to you. If you're going to do X, you've got to do Y. If you want more money for this trip, you're going to have to plan a little longer. So that's just that energy. And it starts you in the direction that you're meant to go. Now, on the 28th, we have a lunar full moon. Lunar means moon. We have a full moon in Pisces. It's very comfortable for Virgos because it's your opposite sign. It's in the area of long-term partnerships. It's closing the door on issues that were occurring in that partnership. But it is in the sign of Pisces. So there could be you're either growing that relationship into something bigger. You might be expanding it. Like I said, it could be a business partnership, or you could be deciding to leave it. But it's definitely part of, we had the solar eclipse on the 12th, and it was in the 12th house. And the 12th house is all about your dreams, your desires, your spiritual direction. And then you've got this Pisces energy that's pushing for some change in a long-term partnership. So what does that mean for you? I can't say, but these are bookends to this situation. On the 29th, Mars in Cancer, in the area of groups and organizations, will butt heads with Saturn in Aries. So that's, something transitioning through your life is also being impacted by a large group organization. Or it could even be your dreams for a better future. You may be having a situation in the home where somebody's ill, or somebody's moving, or there's something happening to your current environment. Thank God it's a square, and it shouldn't last too long. And it also is followed by Jupiter in Leo positively trining that same Saturn in Aries in the 8th house. And Jupiter in Leo is in the 12th house of your future desires, your deepest longings. So there is a practical, dynamic outcome that forces transition and life change, but it will further what you really care about. I hope that made sense, because I wanted to. It's not easy to always move toward what matters the most. We sometimes have to set extreme boundaries and make sacrifices. And it's puzzling, but true. Okay, Virgo, let's take a look at the oracle cards and see how this, blends with what we're talking about. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Be persistent. Be so persistent. Be a French bulldog. Better than that, be a miniature dachshund. They're persistent. Okay. Let's see. What else do we need to look at here? There's healing involved. There's balance involved. There's an opportunity for whatever you're going to be doing is going to make you stronger and braver. And there's a person in power who is supporting your activities, the Hierophant. Don't get caught up in illusion, though. If promises are made, don't bank on anything. Bank on you and what you know. And use your intuition. The Hermit. There is some kind of offer coming your way, though. Could be work related. If you're looking for love, this could also be it. And benefits, financial benefits. 10 of Pentacles. And it can benefit you on many different levels. It could be that the benefits are coming from a new job, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily just money. It could be that you have an opportunity for insurance or gym membership or any number of things. And an old friend reconnects with you. So Virgo, until next time, let's think about the beginning of September. Be well and take care. Libra, how are you? So many things are happening. And as I look at your solar chart here, it gives me a lot of insight into what your next steps are. But let's jump in. This forecast goes from the 18th of August to the 31st, but I'm going to look at the solar eclipse that happened on the 12th. Are you following? It was in the sign of Leo, and that fell in your 11th house of dreams, wishes, people that have deep pockets who support you, organizations and groups. And furthermore, it opened a door into your dreams and desires. and it reverberates for months to come. So let's not just shove that into a corner. On the 21st, we have the action that takes place to get us moving toward that dream. When Venus in Libra, which is your sun sign, is on your identity house, and it has a little bit of a tug of war with Mr. or Mrs. Saturn, which is all about practical action, in the sign of fiery Aries in your 7th house. So you might be wanting to make some major changes, but Saturn in Aries is saying, oh yeah, show me that you can do it. And that's the just do it energy that comes up over the next few weeks. It's the door opener. It's the thing that allows you to take the next steps. Then on the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. It is a full moon. It is a culminating moon. Things are coming, you're tying up loose ends, and it's in the 6th house. It has something to do with your body beautiful, taking good care of yourself. Do you have appointments you need to fulfill? Whatever. Also, the workplace. Are you changing positions? Are you moving offices? Is your staff getting ready to pack everything up and move into a better facility? This could also be happening. So, that lunar eclipse is the bookend to the solar eclipse. One is in the 6th house, and the solar eclipse is in the 11th of groups and organizations. And it's all, in this case, it's all about, you know, the people you work for, work with, or organizations and groups. And there's an interesting interplay between the two. On the 29th, Mars in Cancer is on your career house. There's a lot of energy swirling around work, the workplace, the people in the workplace, the associations you have. But Mars in your 10th house is going to oppose practical Saturn in your 7th. So it could be a situation, and I'm just giving you concepts. You could be offered a higher position, but your partner is like playing the pros and cons game. You will have to work it out with long-term partners, whether it's a partner in business or a partner in the home. But you can do this because it's important. In order to move forward, you will have to do this. And then lastly, Jupiter, big, glorious, dynamic Jupiter in Leo, in that 11th house of groups and organizations, will trine positively. Lastly, moving you forward, it will trine the area of partnerships. So there's a positive outcome that you can reconcile with a business partner or a romantic partner that has something to do with what the organization is saying to you. Maybe they're offering you a lot of money. Maybe they're saying you can work remotely. Maybe all they want to do really is move the office to a better spot. Maybe they want to make you vice president of something. And everybody can calm down. But I have to say this, Libra, it's about you following your deepest held desires, but still working with the people you care the most about. It's a compromise. It's not always easy. I understand. But let's take a look at the oracle cards for the next 2 weeks, and then drop a couple tarot cards on it and see what you are all up to. Libra, 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 Libra. What do they need to know? Please tell us. Trust. Trust that you are in the bosom of the most positive universal energies, and that you are loved and cared for. And trust that you're smart enough to move yourself and the people you care about in the right direction. Libra, 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 Libra. What do we need to know as it relates to this? Yeah, you're feeling like you're breaking away from things that really matter to you and people that care, but there will be some news about a younger person. So maybe a move would really disrupt one of your children, or, you know, a young person in your family. But you have the skills, the talents, the spiritual ability to manage this with care. So do that. The Three of Wands tells me you see where your benefits lie and what your assets are and what you need to do. What will benefit all of you the most? Because I feel with Libras, there's a tribe that's going to be impacted by your decision. You're going to have to do this in some ways on your own. And you're going to need a vacation after all of this. And you might feel a little disconcerted because you're going to make a decision and go, did I do the right thing? Yes, you did. Because you have 2 cups standing. Don't get gloomy. It will work itself out. And lastly, the person, there's a Queen of Cups person, non-gender specific, who has a big heart, who cares about you, who will back you. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So Libra, until next time, breathe. Know that this solar eclipse on the 12th didn't just end. It didn't just go kaplop. That solar eclipse in Leo is about your dreams, is about people who back your dreams. And you will be fine. And until September, take care. Hello, all you Scorpios. You're such an intense group. Sun, moon, and rising. Oh, and by the way, if you like this channel, it's free. Like, share, and subscribe. Press that button and jump in with both feet, because I really want to grow this channel. But anyway, this forecast is from the 18th to the 31st, but I want to jump backwards to the solar eclipse in Leo. It was at 20 degrees. And for you astrology folks, check your charts, because that's where the hot focus is. Now, as I've set this chart up, I have Scorpio on the ascendant. So where is the eclipse? Well, it hit your 10th house of career, your great and glorious career. And I don't care how old you are, because it could be community involvement. It could be that you're starting a second career, but there's something percolating at the top of your chart that has to do with being involved in society in a big way. Now, on the 21st, there's an opposition between Venus and Saturn. And Saturn in Aries is in your 6th house of work and health. And Venus is in the 12th of your deep-held desires and yearnings and secrets and the things that you sort of push into the dark corners, the dusty, dark, cobweb-filled corners. So you may be doing something in a job that's making you unhappy and maybe making you depressed and isn't fulfilling your basic needs on any level. And that, my friends, is the motivating factor for this period. It's moving you forward. The solar eclipse opened the door. That's why they call it a portal. But you know, I have a hard time with the whole portal thing. I mean, let's just say it opened the energy toward the thing you're the most interested in. I think the portal is good for certain circumstances, but this is energy that's going to reverberate for months to come. It's not just one and done. And this opposition between Venus, lovely Venus, and Saturn that's demanding action and practical outcomes is wanting you to fulfill your deepest desires and dreams, spiritual and otherwise. So, on the 28th, the bookend to the solar eclipse is the lunar eclipse in Pisces, in the 5th house. Guess where? Love, romance. Yes, I said it. Dating. The kids in your life, the ones that you raised, even if they're 45, they're still your kids. And your creative inclinations. That lunar eclipse is asking you to finish up a project. So if you've been dating somebody, maybe it's time to take the relationship to the next level. You're either going to continue on, or you're going to close the door on it and move on and look for something new. On the 29th, we have a square. Mars is squaring Saturn. Mars in Cancer, your fellow water sign. Mars in Cancer in the 9th house is squaring Saturn. Practical Saturn in the 6th. There's a problem here. You want to travel. You want to go back to school. You want to learn something. You want to spend more time researching something. Maybe it is for the work. Maybe you are a researcher. But Mars is in the 9th house. It wants to trip the light fantastic. It wants to explore. But Saturn is saying, you need to take care of basics right now. Maybe you need blood work. Maybe you need, maybe you feel like you need more vitamin D and they want to test you for that. Or maybe you need more exercise. Or maybe you need to get your work projects completed. But whatever it is, there's a butting of heads between your desires for expansion and what the workplace or the health place is demanding of you. Interesting, no? And lastly, Jupiter in Leo, in that 10th house of career, is being positively, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, even though there have been issues of various sorts, Leo, in Jupiter in the sign of Leo, will positively connect with that practical Saturn in the 6th house, and your work, your great and glorious career, is going to somehow be supported by some practical, dynamic involvement that will enhance what you're doing in the workplace as far as your involvement in a larger community. So it's the 10th house. Your 10th house is going to get supported and encouraged by what's going on in the 6th. And it's exciting. So that's the story with Scorpio. Let's take a look at the oracle card that supports what we're talking about. And then we'll go move on and take a look at the tarot cards as it relates to this. So it's suggesting that you need to focus and meditate. Calm yourself down and ideas will percolate to the surface. Scorpio. There's a celebration coming up, Four of Wands, yay. The Knight of Wands' fiery personality is coming into your world somehow. It could be somebody from the past. Queen of Pentacles talks about a practical person, non-gender specific, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, but definitely the money situation is okay. And moving into a better headspace. Six of Swords. And a celebration. It's funny, these are both a celebration of some sort. A party. Somebody's getting married. But you're moving toward improvements of all sorts. And on that note, Scorpio, until I see you back in the beginning of September, or toward September, I wish you well and take care. Hello, Sagittarius. How are you? Listen, there's a lot happening, so we're going to jump right in. This forecast goes from the 18th to the 31st, and you probably caught that right in the beginning, but we're going to talk about the solar eclipse that happened on the 12th because it's impacting everything. The solar eclipse in Leo is an important spot in the energy of our time. For you, it landed in the 9th house, where you feel like you want to expand your world. That was a door opener for you, whether it's through travel or learning or meeting people from other countries. Opposite energy maybe from yours, but nonetheless it is so exciting and important for you. The energy on the 21st is what gets things rolling. When Venus in Libra, in the area of your dreams and wishes and large groups and people with deep pockets, opposes practical Saturn. And practical Saturn in the sign of Aries is in your 5th house of creativity, romance, and the children in your life. So what does this mean? It means that there may be a push-pull between the demands of a large organization or group of people and your creative needs. Raising your children, making art, spending downtime with people you love, dating. You may have a group that you're working with that works you 24 hours a day. You're going to have to create. And this is where the cutoff point is. This is where the new energy pours into your chart. You're going to have to set boundaries. And that's the long and the short of it. On the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces. And it is in that 4th house of home and family. The emphasis is there, but you're also closing the door on certain things that either don't work anymore, or you've been working on a project, whether it's a project in the home, maybe you're moving, maybe a member of the matriarchy is moving in, but it's all been done, it's been taken care of, everything's settled. But that's happening on the 28th. So the 12th and the 28th, the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse are bookends to situations that were occurring. Solar eclipse happened in the 9th of expansion, and the lunar eclipse is happening in the area that is it's in that quiet place in your chart. It's home, family, mom. It's the food you cook. It's the way you manage your household. So you're finding a balance between those two places. On the 29th, there is a serious square. Mars in Cancer in the 8th house of transition. It's energy filled. There's a lot happening. Something's changing. It could be anything. It could be a transition where you're buying a new car because you have to, or you're moving out of the state, or whatever. But it's butting heads with practical and demanding Aries in the 5th house of children, your lover, your creative life, your studio, your woodworking place, whatever. And you have to find a balance. You will have to meet the needs of those people that love you, but you will also have to find a way to deal with the energy that's flowing through that 8th house of transition. On the 29th, a lighter and more positive transition sort of evens the whole mess out, because Jupiter in Leo, in that 9th house of expansion, is linking arms with practical Saturn, and in that area of your life is in the 5th house of your children, the arts, your romantic life, your fun time, your downtime. And it's going to be I found a solution. We found a practical way to work out everything. And we're going to make it happen so that I get my needs met, and also the world and its demands are getting what it needs as well. It may have something to do with the work you do. It may be that you're in medicine and you have to work at odd hours. I don't know. But there is an opportunity here for a meeting of the minds when we reach the end of the month. Remember that the solar eclipse on the 12th in Leo demanded expanding viewpoints, an expanded view of the world, whether through learning or travel or any number of things. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Okay, Sagittarius? Because Sagittarians are all about travel to start with. They love to get out and explore. And in many ways, work cramps their style. Okay, let's put an oracle card down. Sag, 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 Sag. You are seeing the picture accurately. That's what this is saying. You're not clueless at all. You are being pulled on by several different areas of your life. You are concerned, not necessarily worrying, but you are looking at the financial picture, 4 of Pentacles. And there have been battles back and forth because, you know, Sag is about joy and joie de vivre and spending time with friends and going out to dinner and having fun and traveling. This means that there is a bit of a struggle with finance right now. 5 of Wands. But you're going to sit and use your intuition. This is the High Priestess. You're going to double down on your spirituality and your meditation and come up with a plan. And you may have to learn a couple new skills about accounting. 3 of Pentacles. And there will be some short trips. That would be really great for you, Sag. And there's a new beginning. A lovely new beginning, possibly a love affair. And good news about money. Page of Pentacles. So, Sag, please take care of yourselves. Stay grounded. And until the beginning of September, take care. Hello, all you Capricorns. I hope you're doing well. Listen, a lot's going on, and we're going to jump right in. But this is for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So don't think that I'm not including every one of you in this. but I've set up a solar chart so that Capricorn is on the first house. This is also a forecast that starts out on the 18th and goes to the 31st. Not a lot of transits, but a lot of information that is giving you a framework for the next 2 weeks. So on the 12th, we had a solar eclipse in the sign of Leo at 20 degrees in your 8th house. That 8th house was all about transition, changes coming in. And also, I have to say this to you Capricorns, because you're very practical about life and how things should be. This solar eclipse in the area of transition and change will reverberate for months to come. This is not a once and done or one and done. On the 21st, you have an opposition that gets you moving, starts to help you clarify what direction you want to take your life. So Venus is in the sign of Libra, and it's on your 10th house of career, your grand and glorious career. Let's get clear on this. And it's butting heads with, or it's opposing Saturn in Aries. And Saturn in Aries is in the 4th house. So practical Saturn is saying, yeah, but you want to move to, I don't know, Florida to work, but you own a home in Maine. Or your children are in New Jersey and you've been offered a job in France. There's a sort of cacophony of complex issues that will force you to start thinking about, this is so weird, your options. Because it's about career and your home. Now, on the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces in your 3rd house of siblings, communication. Now, that lunar eclipse is a culminating full moon. So anything that's been going on with a sibling that's been annoying or otherwise, or something you've been trying to express for months and months, is you're closing a door on that. It's going to be less of a headache as you move forward. It's also directly tied to what has been creating transition in your life on with the solar eclipse that landed in your 8th house. So keep that together in all these things that we're talking about. Then on the 29th, we have a square off between Mars in Cancer, which is in your 7th house of long-term friendships and partnerships, and Saturn in Aries in the 4th. So there could be a conflict between a partner and family members. Maybe you've met somebody, you want to take your relationship to another level, and family members are saying, but you can't. They don't fit in. It could even be a business partner wants to expand the business, and they want to have the business grow to a point where you are being asked to move, and your family is going, well, what about us? So that's an interesting piece of what goes down. Now, wait a minute. So on pretty much the time frame near that, around the 20th, 29th or 30th, Jupiter in Leo, in that area of your chart that's all about transition, will join together in harmony with Saturn and Aries again, which is giving you a hard time, where the family will say, okay, if you need to go, we'll go with you. All 58 of us. If you're moving to France, we're all moving to France. Could be something like that. Or you're moving to Greenwich, Connecticut, and we live in Maine, we'll all buy houses in Greenwich, Connecticut. God help you. But that's the story. That next transit helps to smooth over the conflict. If you have any questions on this, please drop me a line. I know it's complex. I'd love to talk to you about it, but hey, I'm at cottagetarot.com. Love to hear from everybody, because this is what life is about right now. And one of the things I think is that astrologers in some ways have the inside track on the energy that we're all dealing with. It's sometimes hard to nail the specifics, but we really are good at that, the energy part of it. All right, let's take a look at an oracle card. Power of joy. Try to keep it light. I've pulled this card for Capricorn before. Joy. Do joyful things. Have fun. Go drink wine somewhere. Go hiking with your children. Keep it light. There's a rebirth coming forward. That death card is always about that. Page of Swords. Don't overreact to the changes that are swirling around you initially, because change is change. It can shift at any moment. Page of Swords. Don't overreact to anything. King of Wands. There is a King of Wands creature, non-gender specific, Sag, Leo, or Aries in the mix. It could be your archetype, but it could also be one of the fire signs. Don't overreact to this person. There could be a need to partner with that person, or you could be looking at a new romantic involvement, or this could be a person that you are already in a relationship who's really taking center stage, who could be a Sagittarius or a Leo or an Aries. It's time to make a decision. How are you going to manage the situation with this person or with this person? Don't overreact. Meditate on it. There is definitely a new project coming up. Oh my goodness. Possibly a job offer. But there's definitely a new project afoot being offered to you. And someone has definitely had their eye on you, romantically or otherwise, because you have a lot of skills. And there's money involved. Page of Pentacles. Capricorn, this is fascinating. And I hate to not know what's going on with every single one of you, but if you feel like dropping a line and letting me know if this relates to anything you're going through, I would love it. cottagetarot.com. So until next time, which will be the beginning of September, take care and be well. Hello, all you lovely Aquarians. Hey, I have a lot of friends who are Aquarians. I have relatives that are Aquarians. I hope you're all doing great. This relates to Aquarius sun, moon, and rising. The dates for this forecast are August 18th to the 31st, but you know me, I go backwards. So let's jump right in here. On August 12th, we had a solar eclipse in Leo. And for all of you Aquarians, that would have been, if we're looking at it as this is a solar chart, Leo would be on your 7th house of long-term partnerships. It was a door opener for you at that time. And remember, not an energy that just lasts for a day. This is an energy that will reverberate for months to come. What's going on in that part of your chart? It's from a solar perspective with Aquarius on the first house. This is all about long-term relationships. So keep that in mind. It's what you want. It's where you're headed. It's what you're doing. Then on the 21st, beautiful Venus in Libra, and that's in its home sign, goes into opposition to Saturn in Aries. Venus in Libra is fabulous for Aquarians because it's the same sign as, it's the same element. You're an air sign, Libra's an air sign. Now, where is that in your chart? Oh, it's in a delectable space. It's in the 9th house of travel, learning, expanding your worldview, foreign cultures. But it's opposing. It's, you know, it's the opposite energy of the 3rd house, which is all about how you communicate and express yourself. It may have something to do with a sibling. It may have something where you want to travel or you want to get away from it all, but you have to pay attention to something that's going on in your world where you have to communicate ideas and share all of your inner ideas, and it's just not coming together the way it should. But that 21st, where Venus and Saturn are opposing each other, is forcing you to express what you really desire. Because remember, Leo on that solar eclipse was the door opener. Is it a partnership? Is it a working partnership? Is it a business partnership? Is it a romantic partnership? And how does this need to communicate your dreams of expanding into a larger circle impact all of the other? The bookend to the solar eclipse, Leo, the bookend to the solar eclipse in Leo is the lunar eclipse in Pisces, which is a water sign. It's very different than Leo, but it's the other side of this journey. Now remember, the solar eclipse will reverberate for months. The lunar eclipse in Pisces is hitting your pocketbook. It's closing the door on some of the worries and concerns. You've worked out some issues, and it's a good thing. But it's also part of the whole story about what you're desiring. What are you desiring? Where do you see your life going? What changes do you need to make all of it happen? Around the 29th, as we get toward the end of the month, there are 2 big transits. There's an irascible one where Mars in Cancer butts heads again with Saturn in Aries. Mars in Cancer, where is that in your chart? It's in the area of your health and your workaday world, how you work, when you work, etc. And Mars has parked itself there. So there's some issues you need to work with. And it's squaring Saturn in Aries, which is in your 3rd house. So you may be having a hard time expressing some of your ideas as they relate to trying to get work done or getting health taken care of. You might be even expressing them to a sibling. But the good news is on that day as well, or around the corner from that day, probably around the 30th, Jupiter, the lucky planet Jupiter in Leo, will link arms with that practical Saturn in Aries, it'll almost be like it's returning to the spot where the solar eclipse was. So the Jupiter in Leo in your 7th house of long-term partnerships will find a way, a practical solution that's met and carried out through the ideas and your creative expression that will allow you to build a partnership in more ways than one. It's complicated, but these two transits support each other in that process. Okay, Aquarius, let's take a look at what's happening here from the Oracle cards perspective. And see what else is happening. Let it go. Some things you just cannot control. Just know that the universe is pushing for your benefit. Let's put a couple tarot cards on top of it. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is the Virgin Mary archetype. She's the goddess for the Korean culture. Okay, let's take a look at. You have some lucky breaks coming your way. The Sun card is one of the best cards in the tarot deck because there's a job offer. Somebody wants you to work for them or work with them. Ace of Pentacles. You're going to see through the eyes of someone who's a consultant where your benefits lie. Two of Wands. You have had your feelings hurt. This consultant might say something to you that you don't want to hear, but it's important for you to hear it because it's going to make what you hope for possible. Because there's a sudden big shift toward greater creativity. Some of you might be having babies. Some of you might open up an art studio or start creating something that they can incorporate into their lives. There's news about money, Knight of Pentacles, and you're starting to plant the seeds for a new project. Aquarians, I wish you the best of luck, and it's going to be an exciting period. And don't forget that solar eclipse that happened on the 12th is still, doing its dance, and it will continue for months to come. So what are your dreams for the future? On that note, take care. Hello, lovely Pisceans. Last but not least, it's always you coming up the rear. I have to figure out a way to reshape these readings so that you get a chance to be first in line once in a while. So this forecast goes from August 18th to the 31st, but as it is my wont, I will jump backwards a little bit and talk about the solar eclipse that we had on the 12th, and it was in the sign of Leo. Now, I set up this chart with the solar as a solar chart for Pisces, Pisces rising, and moon in Pisces and sun in Pisces. Now, the sun in Pisces allows you to have Leo on the 6th house. So this is where the energy is dancing around in your chart right now. It's about work, how you work with your hands, how you work with your mind in the workplace, where you work, how you work. It's also about your physical body. So take that into consideration when we're talking. And that solar eclipse is so important to the rest of this forecast because it keeps reverberating for months, and it's the hum in the background. What do you care about what's going on in this 6th house? What are you hoping to accomplish? Are you accomplishing a dream of having your own business? Are you accomplishing a dream of becoming a marathon runner? What's going on here? Now, let's look at the 21st. It's halfway between, well, it's not halfway, but it's on its way to the lunar eclipse, which happens on the 28th. But I want to talk about the 21st because it's the door opener. It's the energy that pushes your dream forward, even though it's in opposition. So, beautiful Venus in Libra is in the 8th house of transition, opposing Saturn in Aries. And that's in your 2nd house of finance, productivity, all the things that allow you to move. It's the vehicle that allows you to move forward, because that's what money is. It's energy, okay? But the 8th house is all about transition. So transition can mean anything. Transition is having a baby. Transition is buying a car. It's moving into a different way of being. So the opposition here is, I need more money to buy a house, get my teeth fixed, whatever, okay? And with this opposition allows you to make the change, or to find a way to have the transition that you desire occur. On the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's the bookend to that solar eclipse. And Pisces in your chart, of course, is in your 1st house. So it's affecting your identity, your life purpose, how people see you, what you look like in general, how you appear to the world. Are you changing that in some way? Because it's a culminating full moon. So you may have decided to change your hair color, or change the style at which you talk to people, or any number of things. Maybe your identity changed because you changed jobs. Now, at the very last part of the month, we have 2 more transits that are going to shove you even further into the dream that you had with the solar eclipse in Leo, in that area of health and work. Around the 29th, the 30th, Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer. That's like putting Mars with Cancer. It's like it doesn't work. But that's what we've got right now. Okay. Mars is the just do it planet. It's the Nike commercial, and Cancer likes to make stew. But they're very creative. I know, because I am one. Okay. Mars in Cancer squares off. It butts heads with that Saturn in Aries that we keep talking about. Saturn in Aries, oh my God, is in the 2nd house of money. Mars in Cancer is in your 5th house of creativity, children, love, romance, dating. So you may be finding that one of the things you'd love to have is the ability to take your new romantic interest to dinner, or you'd love to have the ability to do any number of things with this new creative energy that's flowing through your chart. But there's a conflict, because you may be on a very tight budget, or the money that you're making may have to go toward this new project that you're working on. Well, there's salvation, because the next day or a couple days later, Jupiter in Leo, in your 6th house of work, health, how you work, all those good things about work, will trine, will link arms, will dance gaily with that irascible Saturn, practical, in Aries, dynamic, in the 2nd house of money. So something's coming through. You're hatching a plan where you can increase your financial well-being in a very, very, very practical way. I mean, Saturn in the 2nd house is no joke. And Aries is dynamic. It wants it to happen. There is something, you will manifest something through the workplace that will allow you to increase your financial well-being. And in turn, it will help you to be able to have fun and good times with the people you love. And that's my prediction. And it's going out to all of you Pisceans. Now let's take a look at the Oracle card and see how this pans out. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. You can do it! Archangel Michael. Powerful angel. You can get things moving and you can make this happen. Because the universe wants to see you happy. Believe it or not. Archangel Michael. There's been a little sort of fly in the ointment. This is also the Thief card. Could be you getting in the way of your well-being. But there is a new opportunity for love, joy, if you will just allow it. Ace of Cups. Do not overreact. Don't get crazy. Let things flow. Ace of Swords. Page of Swords. Because you've been a little melancholy lately. It's not a secret to anybody that knows you, Pisces. Use your head, stay grounded, and move forward on your plans. King of Cups. This could be you. Water sign. Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. Use your head and act like the true leader you are, and caring, giving, etc. You are not going, you're not being torn apart as much as you think. You are emotionally bound up. You need to find a way out of this. This is an illusion. 8 of Swords. You're better off than you think you are. And lastly, it's time to get moving. Through exercise, through dance, through music, through any medium. Particularly with Pisces, it's dance. Any form of dance. Even if you dance in your kitchen. Find some music you like and hop around on one foot. I don't care. This is a good time for that. So Pisces, until next time, which will be sometime early September, I want you to take care, be well,